NDTV's big focus on the political battle in this assembly elections, where one of the key aspects of the elections, especially in Goa, has seen a worsening of the rift between the Trinamool Congress and the Congress, the two political frenemies, with the Trinamool Congress suggesting that they had made offers to the Congress for an alliance, the Congress saying that in fact they didn't get any such offer. I have Pavan Varma with me, senior Trinamool Congress leader, who has his version of what exactly happened. Was an alliance made by the Trinamool or not? Pavan Varma is joining me from Goa. Pavan Varma, before I come to you, let me just play to you what P Chidambaram, senior Congress leader, who's the Congress observer in Goa, what he told me earlier this week, where he said that as far as he knew, no concrete offer came from the Trinamool Congress. Let's listen. Mr. Chidambaram, before I get into this entire question of the politics behind what is going on with the Trinamool, I just want to understand at a factual level, has there been, as the Trinamool keeps suggesting, some sort of concrete offer from the Trinamool? In fact, Mahuma Moitra suggesting it's between the two principals, indicating that Mamta Banerjee may have even reached out to Sonia Gandhi.
If there was anything between the two principals, obviously I would not know unless I'm told by one of them. I have not been told about any concrete offer. And I won't repeat this answer again and again.
Of course.
To the best of my knowledge,
yes,
there was a suggestion that we should work together, but there was no concrete offer about who will lead the alliance, how many seats will be sought, which seats. There was no concrete offer.
Okay, fair
enough. And I think we should move on to another aspect now. I won't repeat this answer.
So the net outcome, of course, is now that the Congress is going on its own, not going with anybody. But the concrete offer point, Pavan Varma, Chidambaram says there was no such concrete offer from you, from the Trinamool. But you have another view on this. What's the reality?
I must say, Vasu, I'm a bit dismayed, disappointed, and also surprised at the manner in which Mr. Chidambaram, who's a senior Congress leader, has been finance minister and home minister, is attempting to mislead people through a statement on public television which is far removed from the truth. And I'll tell you why. On 24th December at 1:30 p.m., I, in my capacity as National Vice President of the TMC, met Mr. Chidambaram at his Lodi Estate residence after seeking an appointment. During that meeting, I made a concrete proposal that in order to strengthen the opposition space, putting behind past differences or acrimonies, the TMC and the Congress should form an alliance. It was a concrete proposal made by a senior functionary of the TMC, which happens to be me. Mr. Chidambaram told me then that it is above him to respond to such an offer and that he will have to take it to his quote-unquote leadership. The next day, Mr. Chidambaram called me to say that he had indeed spoken to his leadership, or in this case, his leader, which is Rahul Gandhi, who had said that in order to take this further, the two principals of the party need to communicate with each other. Subsequently, this was done. I called Mr. Chidambaram again and told him that the principals have spoken. In fact, I told him on the authority of what I learned in my own party, what Ms. Sonia Gandhi's reply to Ms. Mamta Banerjee ji was.
Okay.
Which was
yes,
that we will take a decision in this. I will take a decision in this matter after consulting my senior leadership. Fair enough. So the ball was in the court of the Congress, and we were awaiting a response to what could not but have been a concrete proposal for the principals of the parties to have interacted on it. Mr. Chidambaram said he is not aware of this exchange, but this exchange is a fact and can be independently verified. Mr. Rahul Gandhi was also abroad at that time, and on his return, Mr. Chidambaram and I spoke again to say that now that he is back, perhaps the Congress party will expedite its response to this concrete proposal of an alliance, because time is short and we need to begin preparations to work together as a team. To that, Mr. Chidambaram, in fact, even feigned ignorance about his knowledge of Mr. Rahul Gandhi's return and said, yes, I completely agree with you and I will respond, we will respond to you, and I will do so when I am informed of what that response is from my leadership. So in a way, we had a situation where one of the senior most leaders of the Congress was essentially saying that I will act as I am told by my leadership and take no initiative on my part. So, given this situation, for Mr. Chidambaram to now say publicly and repeat it that he did not receive a concrete offer or the Congress party did not receive a concrete offer is an untruth.
But Pavan Varma,
since I have been involved, okay, I think this is a serious matter.
Okay.
The record has to be set straight.
Okay. So which is why you've come out now, Pavan Varma, to say that, and this is interesting, that you met Chidambaram, you met Mr. Chidambaram in December, with this offer, you spoke to him after that, and you also have confirmed to us that Mamta Banerjee and Sonia Gandhi also spoke about
or communicated
about this proposal, and that Sonia Gandhi said that she will consult with her leaders and get back to you. And of course, the Trinamool's case is that nobody got back. There was no revert. Is that right?
See, they're absolutely right. In fact, I want to say to you that there could have been differences in the past.
Right.
After all, the Congress party fought against the TMC in West Bengal.
Yes. But
the leader of the opposition of the Congress party, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, not only accused but came close to abusing Mamta Banerjee.
No, one second. Pavan Varma, I want to come to that in a second. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to stay with this. This is important. I was just coming to the point of the fact that according to you, all these exchanges and interactions took place, but there was no final revert from the Congress. I do want to ask you one thing though, because what Mr. Chidambaram said is that there was a suggestion for an alliance, but not a concrete offer. You're saying when you met him, there was a concrete offer. He says that there was no indication about, who is going to be the main pole of this alliance, what kind of seat sharing is going to take place, so on and so forth. Were those aspects discussed when you met him?
Vasu, it stands to reason that the first concrete proposal, which required an act of courage, was to say that we should come together as alliance partners, show that strategic flexibility to move towards one focused goal of defeating the BJP in Goa. It was a concrete proposal made in person, not through a tweet, not through a message randomly sent, made by a senior functionary of the TMC party.
Okay.
Now for Mr. Chidambaram to turn around and say he didn't receive a concrete proposal, I don't know what that is. And besides, once they agreed in principle to the proposal, the other details would be worked out.
Okay, so if he was to turn around and say, if he was to respond to what, I mean, we have to of course get his reaction to this, which in all fairness we should, but suppose he was to turn around and say that what Pavan Varma came to me with was a suggestion of an alliance, a broad principle suggestion that to ally, but it wasn't specific, it wasn't concrete in terms of seat sharing, etc., etc. How would you respond to that? I mean, if that is his response.
No, Mr. Chidambaram can resort to any subterfuge to hide the blunt truth that I met him at a specific time with his own concurrence and gave a definitive proposal. Otherwise, Vasu, why would he have, and I'm saying to you what he told me, not only spoken to his leadership with that concrete proposal, he also told me that he gave a note in writing. And subsequently, there was a follow-up of a communication between the two principals as the Congress party desired. If all this was hot air, why would it have gone to that point?
Okay.
So, Mr. Chidambaram is dissembling.
Okay. We will.
But for a senior leader.
Okay. We will.
To say this repeatedly.
Okay. We will get his response. Okay. Pavan Varma. Fair enough. We will get his response, but I want to ask you in conclusion though, that on the wider point of it, that you said, okay, there has been friction between the two parties in the past, West Bengal and all of that, but on the current situation, if you just look at Goa, the fact that the Trinamool was poaching leaders of the Congress from Goa, not just leaders, but entire party units, was repeatedly publicly attacking the Congress, and then expecting the Congress to reply, to your proposal, concrete or otherwise, is that realistic?
No, I'll explain it to you. You see, Vasu, there's a difference between poaching and voluntary departure of people from the Congress because they felt a situation of betrayal and drift. The Congress party.
But you know what I'm saying, though. No, but one can quibble over whether it was a poach or but I'm saying the idea that you're taking on Congress leaders, Congress workers, public criticism is happening of the Congress, and then you expect the Congress to enter into an alliance with you.
Vasu, short point. Mamata Banerjee's stated intent is to strengthen the opposition, strengthen that space, and set aside egos and minor differences. The Congress party has not responded maturely. We could have sat with the public abusers of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and said, we will never have any truck with the Congress. We could have said, you fought against us in the West Bengal elections.
Okay.
But the attempt here is to move with maturity, and the TMC took the lead. And for Mr. Chidambaram to duck that lead by saying that no concrete proposal came is, I'm afraid, a public untruth.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You put your point of view across, but as I said, we'll get him on as well, hopefully, and get his perspective. But it does indicate the worsening dynamics between the Trinamool and the Congress, which I said are the great frenemies of Indian politics. Let's see how it plays out. Pavan Varma, thank you very much indeed, though, for coming on. Thanks very much.